I told you that Pinky mentioned something that I forgot existed. And I said, oh my God, I forgot that even exists. I'm getting it for Jeremy for when he comes out so we can actually...
I can't imagine what it is.
Close your eyes. Put your hands out. I need the reaction.
Oh my God.
Show what it is.
Where did you even find these?
Aww. Amazon. You can still find
It's Ziploc.
I got it. Yeah.
Closed.
So they can't escape. And I was like, remember when you got these as a kid and they first came out, everybody was like, oh, why aren't mine sitting at a kitchen table with little ties?
Sure. I think they're trying to be a little bit more honest with the advertising now. There's nobody riding a bike. They're very depressing, and I'll tell you why. When you spill the packet of sea monkeys out, you know, there's always some sea monkeys that are probably still in that packet that are never going to get born.
We'll split it in half and we'll get a toothpick and just scrape everything out.
They got the little magnifying glass here so you can see them riding bikes and
living their lives,
having arguments with their sea monkey roommates.
World's only instant pets. I think pets is being that's stretching the boundaries of the word pets.
Here's another thing too: is I think one of these bags is food, and what happens when you run out of food? All right, here we go. Contains water purifier for 10 ounces of water, instant live sea monkey eggs, sea monkey food uses directed, sea monkey feeding spoon uses directed. So yeah, so not only
What's
that, it's like there's only one. It's like this. It's like one time. There's one packet of water purifier that you use before you put them in the water.
But how do you clean the water?
You don't.
Yeah.
That's
where they're gonna die.
Probably why you don't see sea monkeys very much anymore. is because you just kind of create a style, and around the time you're getting bored of them is around the time that they're dying anyways.
Yeah, I mean, look at this one's wearing a little skirt and a little bow in her hair. She's actually got hair. I don't think they have hair. This one's wearing a bathing suit. Yeah, this one's they're all wearing swim trunks, and the girls have bows in their hair. This is another one of those things where they make them look super happy and like, oh, look, they're just swimming around this tiny little plastic thing. Their life is great. Illustration is fanciful. Welcome back to my channel, and our special guests today are sea monkeys. Yes, we have the sea monkeys and special guests. And they're going to sit right here. Hopefully we will not knock this table over and have sea monkeys all over my carpet.
Monkeys.
So far, we see no sign of them wearing little bathing suits, building bedrooms.
No pushing strollers.
No pushing strollers. They're going to hang out with us, but we're going to check back in with them. And in the meantime, they're here to bring up the subject we hold near and dear to our heart of nostalgia. So we're just going to have a little nostalgia chat. You might have seen our Finding Melancholy Nostalgia items at the dollar store.
Right.
I'll put a little card up here for that if you want to watch that. I was cleaning my office, and when we were talking about the nostalgia thing, there's one thing you mentioned.
Yeah.
And
oh, did I?
Yes, you did. And everyone will have to go back and watch that video now to see why you have this reaction to this. Okay. Close your eyes.
All right.
Okay, open your eyes.
Oh, the little Florida orange guy.
It's the little Florida orange bird. Funny story about this. Well, you had your little story about, how... So explain why this is a melancholy /
Well, I think I touched on this story, but so for one thing, I've always had just sort of this melancholy reaction to self-aware food products. Anthropomorphic food products. I guess at the time, though, like when I first come upon this type of character, this is sort of the official kind of Orlando orange character. There's many variations of him, and I recall having been on vacation with my family and we had stopped at one of these big gift shops coming into Kissimmee, and there was a tiny little ceramic toothpick holder that was a face close to this one, like this happy orange kind of toothpick holder. And for some reason, it really bummed me out. And it was hard to explain. It was like just this notion of it serving some kind of purpose and happily sort of doing it, but at the same time, sort of my own rationalization of that being kind of a sad life. I don't know. I mean,
so interestingly,
what kids, thinking about that?
Interestingly, this has Walt Disney Productions on the bottom.
So I guess Disney just went. I mean, maybe this
It's
was
one of
always
the
a Disney thing.
Yeah, I guess.
I was just maybe they just. I mean,
Disney,
like
Orlando, yeah.
Disney do. Maybe they just
We're
bought it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's-
Oh, go! Now he's dead.
Maybe they just bought it up because that's what they like to do.
When we bought this house in the 2009, I think we bought it, something like that. There was the house was empty, but we have a shed out back, and we went out to the shed, and there were all these boxes in the shed. And in the boxes were a lot of weird random stuff. And what it looked like was that they had a garage sale before moving their stuff out of the house. And everything that didn't sell from the garage sale, they just left in the shed for us to find. And this little dude was in a box in my shed. And I was like, oh.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I kept him. So he's kind of like...
Did you have the same reaction when you saw him?
Yeah, I remembered him from when I went to Florida with my parents. I was like, I thought it was kind of a cool sign of moving in here and that this guy was here. So we have him. The next two things are things that I bought. I bought this at an antique store here. And I had that reaction to it, like you said, where I saw it. And this is almost like we need to start a new thing called liminal toys.
Yeah.
Because it's a liminal toy. It's one of those toys, like, I don't think I ever had one. I don't think I ever owned one, but something about it just gave me this sense of, like... Nostalgia and melancholy for something I never had, or that I had, but not in the same way. So it is...
Oh, boy.
This little lamb.
This little lamb of mine.
This guy. There's no tag, but it's the face for me.
So where did you find this?
I got it at an antique store in town.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So consider the circumstance under which this was purchased new for the first time.
Probably for a baby.
Yeah. Maybe for a baby.
Baby's
Yeah.
room or,
and just like somebody looked at this and said, "Oh, well, that's just so cute,"
It's still cute. It's in great shape.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a tag, so I don't know what year it's from, but it is clearly like, kind of maybe a 50s.
50s or 60s.
Yeah. I mean, look at this face, though. How cute is that face?
It's just doing its job.
It's just being a little lamb.
Just being a lamb.
And it's the eyes far apart, the nose and the mouth close together, the little tongue going, the blep.
Mm.
And the ears off the side, not on the top, but like sticking straight out the side. And it just kind of is like...
Oh, so now...
laying there. Yeah. Don't knock over the sea monkeys.
We got to replace with the... Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So, yeah, this little lammy. I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, it's just...
Moon's over my lammy.
Moon's over my lammy. It's like I will probably never get rid of this because I'd be too sad to like get rid of it.
Why would you ever get rid of it?
I wouldn't.
Under what circumstance would you?
I wouldn't. I mean, it's just so. It just looks at you like, love me.
Yeah. The
Please
tongue's
fall in
sticking
love
out
with me.
too.
The little tongue. It's like, I don't know. And this is the weirdest one. This, I believe, was also in my shed.
Okay.
I did not buy this. I think it was out in my shed. This is a whale bank.
Oh my lord.
And it has these crazy flowers. The reason there's a rubber band on it.
Oh, the bottom falls out?
Because the bottom will come out, and this thing will come out, and I do keep change in this. But
was there any change in it when it was new? When you found it?
There were pennies in it. Oh. There's a penny in it. But here's what's crazy is somebody actually made this. Sam, if you're out there, I have your whale. So this is the whale. And apparently someone named Sam made this whale. There is a signature right here that says Sam. And here is the whale. This gives you like a truer idea of the colors.
There's a 1983 penny inside of it.
Is that, yeah. Although I might have put that in there. But when I go to, there's this little...
that is clearly a early 70s bank.
It kind of, this kind of stays in, but when I start to put change in it, it falls out. So I put the stupid rubber band around it, which put the penny back in. So yeah, this was a.
I would say late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like, it's not just he's like this happy whale.
Yeah.
Like, and I couldn't get rid of it. I'm like, I found it, I think, out in the shed with this guy. I'm like, well, this is staying here. Yeah. It's got all the multicolored daisies on it. Yeah, it definitely looks like more like a 70s kind of
right.
thing. I wish that Sam would have signed a year, but they didn't. This is clearly someone's actual signature. My mom and I used to do ceramics too, so this just screams like 1970s ceramics. So yeah, I found that. So
nice.
Those are my little weird nostalgia things that I have found that are actually things in my house and in my office. And this is just weird. We just started talking about this. The way I ended up with the sea monkeys, in case you're wondering. For some odd reason, we were watching TV one night, my husband and I, and he mentioned sea monkeys. And I said, oh my God, I forgot those even existed. I forgot those were a thing. And I was a kid when they first came out. And it's like everybody thought you were actually going to have like little mini underwater monkeys in here. And boy, were we disappointed when no.
But it was a meme back then. It was a joke that was a rite of passage to start a colony of sea monkeys and
I think they were going to be sewing bathing
figure
suits
out. It was like it was that version. Yeah. It was the 1970s version of like from The Christmas Story, where he gets the Ovaltine ring and realizes that life is a sham.
Yes.
This is the 70s, 80s version.
And I actually felt bad for my mom trying to, because I was so disappointed as a kid. Trying to talk me down.
Into thinking that they're great.
Oh. No.
Oh.
She was apologizing that I was like, but Mom, why aren't they wearing bathing suits? Why aren't they riding bikes like on the picture?
Yeah.
Why are they? My poor mom. Parents everywhere hated these things.
Probably.
Because their kids were all crying, going, mine are riding bikes and wearing bathing suits and sitting at a dinner table with the dad coming home with the briefcase and the mom wearing an apron going, dinner's ready, honey. Yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous if you look at the old pictures. So I did find this on Amazon. Strangely, there are many, many choices of sea monkey setups. And you can reorder the food and you can have your own little sea monkey colony. So now that I'm an adult and I have sea monkeys, we'll see what happens.
Maybe they'll stay alive for a long time. You see there's little magnifying glass windows in it too. And there's a reason for that. And that is about the only way that you're ever going to actually see them. But I do recall amongst the few sea monkey colonies that I had as a child, I do recall one particularly robust colony where you could actually see them pretty good with the naked eye. Yeah, this says, now we just put these in today, and it says that it may take up to 36 hours for them to be big enough for you to see. You might be able to see some of them. No, I don't see jack. No, right I see a bunch of stuff floating around. And I seem to remember in the past having seen them after about 12 hours, having been able to kind of see them, but also, we'll see. The air conditioning is on here, and it says that if you keep them above 74 to like 82 degrees, they'll kind of establish faster. It is cool in my house because we've had the air on. So I think that might be a little contributing factor. I'm trying to keep them away from a draft. So anyway, so that was just a little stroll down memory lane nostalgia thing. And just weird toys, like weird things to find when you move into your home. I remember the time I went to the antique store and I got this guy. I think I went there and I looked around and this was like the only thing I walked out with. Right. And it was that thing where I just looked at it and it was just on the shelf by itself and it looked so hopeful. Like, you're going to take me home, right? Don't leave me here. Don't leave me. And just the face just got me. I was like, I can't leave this lamb here. Am I the only one who has like this, like we went antiquing today and I I love it at first. And then I just start to see all this like abandoned stuff that people loved at some point. Yeah. Like I'm sure the people who had these things like loved and cherished them. And now they're just like sitting in this antique store and waiting for somebody to find them and take them home. And it has this like sadness, like this melancholy and sadness to me.
And it's really hard for me to not take like every stuffed animal home because I anthropomorphize those and go, oh, like this little lamb is going to be sad if I leave it here. It's like,
and another thing, and then all day today, I just one after another. I mean, just tons inundated with little ceramic and little glass figurines.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I've just always been I've always just been drawn to this idea, drawn to them, or just fascinated by the idea of these like little figurines, and they're so frivolous. It's just so frivolous.
Yep.
And yet somebody created this thing. Somebody bought this thing. Yeah. Somebody bought this thing. Yeah. It's one thing if you see it in a store and it's brand new, and you're like, well, this is,
frivolous.
This is frivolous. I mean, this has probably been sitting here for ages.
Yeah.
But when you see it in an antique store, somebody bought it. It was in somebody's collection. It survived long enough that it probably made it to the end of their life, and then got rolled into some lot of
or donations or something.
Right. So it's just the weirdest thing. It's that to look at these things and think like, who looked at this and said like, oh, this little penguin, this little glass penguin, oh, I gotta have it. I gotta have it.
We have to share what Jeremy got today at the antique store.
This is how my brain works.
Yeah.
So I got this, and I got it mostly for the cover art, but I love it. I love the notion of these like late 40s, early 50s novels. This is A Stranger in Town. There's high drama going on here. Don't be confused. This is more than likely a sex book. Just to get into this for a second, and this isn't a book review, so I'll just like, we
should review
John,
40s
books
someday.
This is so classic of this genre of novels. John, the hero, John Fleming, sculptor, returned from the war to the flesh pots of Manhattan. Finds it hard to readjust to easy life of cafe society, to rediscover himself in his art, and after his experience of women close to battle lines, to accept the perfumed darlings of his set. Perfumed darlings of his set. So, anyways, and then they go on to describe 5 women that he got with, and I won't, I won't go into it. You know what? You can just look this up on eBay, and you can see both sides of it, and you can read it for yourself. But I love the artwork of this. But I love these, and I love the notion. I might not even ever read this, but I love the notion of these like campy, overly dramatic, self-important 1940s novels.
I may have to go into town, or we'll go back into town, and so I can pick up one of these, and we should do a book review.
I'm leaving with you until I drive back.
Okay.
I'm not going to take it with me on the plane.
So this is, by the way, the author, it says Howard Hunt, out of his wartime experience, produced 2 widely hailed novels. End of Farewell, Knopf, 1942, and Limit of Darkness, Random House, 1944. But no, his experience included service in both Navy, destroyer duty, and Army Air Force, and a life correspondent on Guadalupe.
He was a Life magazine correspondent.
He won a Guggenheim Fellowship in Creative Writing in 1946.
That's what I was going to get into. You could read the back of that. One of the things that I had seen, they pulled the tag off of this, because that's how they tell who you bought it from. But the tag handwritten on it said Howard Hunt. Yes, the Howard Hunt. So I think he might have been a big muckety-muck in the sexy novel.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
World.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up. I've heard of him somewhere, but I don't know where. But yeah, I'm gonna.
I wish you weren't a liar.
I'm not.
You heard of him?
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Hi. So I'm editing, and I'm just jumping in here. I know it's a little dark in here, but I'm editing. I remembered how I knew Howard Hunt. I did a little research. He was a Central Intelligence Agency officer, and he ended up being implicated in the Watergate scandal with the whole Nixon Watergate scandal. Yes, the Watergate scandal. The reason Howard Hunt stuck in my head, and I didn't realize it was the same guy who wrote this book. Now I really want to read it. He was a very prolific author. He wrote a lot of books. There's a whole Wikipedia page on him. I'm going to link below. But yeah, he was involved in Watergate scandal. And the reason I knew his name, he went by E. Howard Hunt, was because All the President's Men is one of my all-time favorite movies. with Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman and a lot of other greats. If you haven't ever seen it, you have to watch it. One of my favorites. It's a classic movie, and I've always been fascinated by the whole story of the whole Watergate thing and all that. So that's how I knew E. Howard Hunt. I knew he sounded familiar. So yes, it's the same one. By the way, go watch All the President's Men if you can find it. It was on Netflix for a long time. Now it disappeared. I don't know where you can watch it, but try to find it if you've never seen it. Great movie. And yeah, E. Howard Hunt is mentioned a lot in that movie, and that's why. Okay, so then
I always buy oil
Goes home with an
cans
oil
when I
can.
see them.
Yeah.
These little, the great little dinky
They make the
oil
dinky
cans.
dinky
Yeah.
sound.
So these are great.
So how many do you have now?
I mean, I don't have a lot. Like, I'm not
I
a
think you've only
maniac
bought, like,
with
2 or
them.
3.
Yeah, I've got about 4 or 5
Yeah.
of them. I'm a maniac, but you got to get them in the price. Some people want money for these, like $20 or $30 for these. No, never do that.
No, he never
this
pays
was
more than
under $6. Yeah, under
he
$6
never pays over
for one that
$7.
is essentially in perfect condition except for some rust, and that's fine. Rust is fine. You just don't want them dented or broken. So finding this for under $6, dented or broken. Are we turning into an unironic junk channel right now?
No.
All right.
Yeah, we better go.
Yeah.
We're
off
like
the rails.
we've turned into Antiques Roadshow somehow. So I'm gonna check more into this Howard Hunt character.
Hit him with some classical music right now.
Yeah. It was so weird to find this in my shed, in the Poconos, no less. Not that strange. I just realized there's a lot of people from Florida who come up here for the winter. And then they go back to Florida, so they're like the snowbirds. Snowbird, orange bird. Thanks for watching this very strange trip down memory lane and nostalgia. We'll report back with our sea monkeys. We'll see how they're doing. See ya in a few or later.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.